Alright, finally, let's go into the MES Conclusions and try to make sense of all this. So, MES Conclusions, after sifting through this paper with a fine-tooth comb, the only thing clear is that there's nothing clear about the paper, the methods, or virology in general. A handful of patients were assumed to have a, quote, viral infection. A handful of respiratory samples were obtained and assumed to contain a, quote, virus. Genetic sequencing, aka listing of molecules, and comparing with public database of other genetic sequences was used as the basis for identifying this, quote, new virus. Respiratory samples were heavily processed, centrifuged, mixed with chemical preservatives, grown and regrown in cell cultures derived from cancer patients, stained with heavy metals, washed with saline solutions, embedded in resin, cut in ultra-thin sections, and placed in high-powered electron microscopes. Optical light microscopy showed non-persuasive information, to say the least. So there's nothing there in those images. I'll just write here: optical light microscopy images. Yeah, showed non-persuasive images. Yeah, they just showed that supposed celium beating. Electron microscope images showed dead particles which are assumed to be, quote, virions. Besides requiring further research into the, quote, genetic sequencing science being performed, there's not much of any significance presented in this paper, and much less what would be expected to declare a, quote, pandemic, lockdown, mask up, and vax up vax up the world. Or rephrase that again: much less what would be expected to declare a, quote, pandemic, and lockdown, mask up, and vax up the world. All right. And interestingly, there are some very peculiar timings of this whole COVID psychological operation, or PSYOP, and PSYOP it most certainly is. So December 1st, 2019, China's new strict vaccine law goes into effect. All right, into effect. And then December 1, 2019, patient 0 started to have symptoms. And then December 31st, 2019, again, just before the new year, China sends a rapid response team to Wuhan. Very interesting. And Wuhan, yeah, so the Wuhan right there, Wuhan is a MES anagram. I call it MES because if you move this around, you get HU. Yeah, so the HU, then the HU, and then this one here, flip it, call it an M. The W becomes an M, then you have an A, then you have an N. Human. So Wuhan, MES anagram, human. So yes, basically a human. Imagination right here to create this supposed pandemic. And of course, the paper ends with a now commonplace brainwashing propaganda urging the public and governments to, quote, prevent, control, and stop the spread of 2019 NCOV. Anyway, stay tuned for MES Science 5 and see what I get up to on that video.